Hello, how are you doing, viewers out there? This is Dr. Will, and welcome to another show. As you can see, I'm in my vehicle right now doing this show. That's how much I love y'all. I want to bring it to you. Then I'm doing it in vehicle. So with us today, we have Stacey Roshan. We are actually doing a show on flipping the classroom. Excuse me. She is what I call a flipping artist. I have seen her work. It is fantastic. And for all of you who are out there in math, definitely go there. That information will be posted on my site. All right, so here we are. Stacey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Excellent. Thank you for being a guest on the show. Now, for those who do not know who Stacey Roshan is, who is Stacey Roshan?
Who am I? I am an upper school technology coordinator. This is my first year doing that, and also I'm a math teacher. I teach at an independent school outside of DC, and I teach high school. I'm teaching Honors Algebra 2 and AP Calculus this year, and something that I'm just really, really passionate about is getting to know my students as well as I can. You know, I have the luxury of teaching classes that is about 15 students on average. My large class right now is 19 students, and so I really want to get to know each and every one of them very well throughout the year, and that's something we pride ourselves on at my school. And so the flipped classroom has really enabled me to do that so much better, and yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
Excellent, excellent. So I did my research on you before we started the show. So I have some background in watching the video. But let's tell the folks what made you started to flip your classroom in the first place.
Okay, it really started with AP Calculus. Back in 2009, I had an excellent group of kids, but I felt like I was so rushed to get through the material, and I didn't have enough time to, sit down with each of them like I wanted to do. And so, I was just spending so much time going through the lecture at the beginning and then having, 10 minutes at the end of class for them to start their problems in groups, and, they were all asking me a bunch of questions. And so that summer I went to a technology conference and I learned about Camtasia Studio, and I saw that I could, create a screencast, and I was like, oh, that's my answer. At my school we already had tablet PCs, so it kind of like was this solution that was sitting there once I knew that I could record my screen and my audio and make a quick, screencast that I could push out to the students, a video lecture. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try that. And in my first year doing it in 2010 with my students in AP Calculus, it went so well that every single one of my traditional lectures, so just like getting the information out there, I moved to video. And then in class, we usually started with some discussion at the board to kind of delve deeper into it. And some days the kids just needed to start their work, and it really enabled me to kind of sit down with the kids who needed it for the day, and the other kids kind of would work in their own groups, and it became much more about the student than about me. And so yeah, that was how I began.
Okay. So you're starting it and you're working it with your kids and everything is going.
Yes.
So that first year, um, how successful was it, and how did your students react to the transition from getting the lecture traditionally face to face versus getting it on a video?
So for my AP Calculus students, when I presented it to them, they were, I mean, obviously they were a little bit nervous, but at the same time they were like, what? We're going to get to do all of our problems in class? They were so relieved because they had taken pre-calculus the year before, honors pre-calculus, and they had problems that were so difficult. So they would go home and they would get really stuck on their problems and not know how to work through it. So they were so excited to get to work through all the problems in class that I really, I didn't get much pushback from parents or from the students at all. And again, it was this real process of me saying, okay, how are the video lectures going? And I kept checking in with them. But they went so well that I used the video lectures the entire year. So it was excellent in the AP Calculus class. In Honors Algebra 2, when I introduced it to the 9th and 10th graders, I would say that I definitely needed to give a lot more introduction, a lot more, this is how you study, these are some good techniques, all of that stuff, because they've never had a really difficult math class prior to that. They don't know how difficult some of that process of like not being able to figure out a question on your own is. And so both for parents and for students with the 9th and 10th graders, I've found that I need to just explain why we're doing it like this and really help them develop the study skills necessary to be successful students, not just math students, but students.
Okay, so you said that it was well received by students and parents. So what about administration? What were their concerns, if any, when you came to them about flipping, or did you go to them at all and just started flipping?
No, I mean, we definitely talked about it. I actually had a really detailed plan of exactly what I was going to do and why I was going to do it. And I think, that it's so important to be clear with the parents, the students, and the administration. And really, my reason behind doing this was to relieve the anxiety in my classroom. And so, that's going to make everybody better off at the end of the day. And so in order to prove that, the kids had to continually be happy. And I did actually do continual surveys of the kids, how they liked it. And so I kept doing that. I did every trimester, in the middle of the trimester, we're in trimesters here, I would do just a survey for the kids, an informal thing to see how they were receiving it the first year. And I actually have done that most every year in my classes, maybe not so frequently, but I do satisfaction surveys with them because that is my biggest indicator of success to me, how happy the kids are in the class. And so, again, I laid out a really firm plan. I was very organized in the way that I set things up, and so my administration was very supportive of it. I'm very lucky for that.
Excellent, excellent. So you mentioned that you wanted to be happy, but let's get down to what everybody wants to know about, and that is your students are AP. They take the AP test.
Yep.
So after flipping, what were their scores like?
So the first year I flipped, I always hate answering this question, first of all, because it's just like I feel like I have such such a small sample of students. But I mean, ever since I flipped, my scores have been really high. The first year I flipped, there was a significant increase in the scores, but I hate saying it was because of the flip, But ever since then, my scores have continued to stay really high. So, again, I've only been teaching 7 years. I've only been teaching AP Calculus for 6 years. But I feel like the students who might not have really been able to receive a 3, who really would have struggled to get a 3, I can get them there now because I can get them to a 3 or a 4. I really feel like, because first of all, you've got the videos that they can look back at. They can watch it at their own pace. And I can just sit down with them one-on-one and really coach them through that process of getting their questions solved. Whereas before, they would have gone home and they really, those kids who are getting a 3 on the AP Calculus exam, usually they would really struggle with being able to solve those problems at home. And they probably wouldn't have the time to fix all their problems ever. But now that they're doing it in class, first of all, they get the help of their classmates. And second of all, I really get to sit down with them one-on-one and give them the direct individual attention that they need. And then it's also just so wonderful. Before, I finish teaching, I have an entire month to study for the AP exam because I've freed up so much class time. And so first of all, they can go back to the videos that they didn't do so well on the first time, and I actually coach them through which videos they need to rewatch as we get into AP exam review. I'm like, I think you need to rewatch this one. So they have all those to rewatch. And then secondly, it's just that we have an entire month to go through all the review. And this year, actually, we missed 10 days of school for snow. And I missed even more than that in class time. I think I had 2 weeks less of class time this year than I had last year. And I still had an entire month for AP review. So, you know, that's beautiful.
Excellent. Well, your videos, again, I call you an artist because you go to YouTube and you see a lot of people say, hey, I'm flipping. You check out some things. You go, okay, that's not bad. But yours look really good, and I like the pace of them. I like what you. I mean, I like how you teach. Now, granted, when you get to that higher math, you might as well be speaking a foreign language to me because I can't do that. But how did you, on the tech side, how did you decide which screencasting tool you would use? And once you decided that, how did you go about learning to master the tool in order to make your videos?
You know, so the way I picked the tool was just that I saw Camtasia demoed at this conference I went to, and so you know, I was just like, this is exactly what I need. And the reason was because I could record my screen, I could record my audio, it would go right to an editor where I could edit everything, and then I pressed like a produce and share button and it went live, you know? And so everything was in one step. I knew, hey, I can actually make 1 million videos this year and I'm going to stay sane. And probably if I had to use like 3 different programs, I don't know, it would have been more difficult. So staying in one program was really nice for me. Being able to edit was huge for me. I like to make it pretty, as you've seen. Like, I like to edit out the mistakes. I want it to look professional at the end. And in my first year, I just got the screencast going. I edited out any mistakes. It's been like a process. I am still evolving in the process. I definitely reuse old videos, but I edit them. Like, every year I go back and I edit. So nothing in my process stands still. I mean, each year I get to do more, and I get to edit them more, and I get better at using the editor, and the technology gets better, and I have more features there for me. But, you know, something that I just really try and keep in mind all the time when making the video lesson is that it has to be so clear, because the kid can't ask that little clarifying question that they would ask when you're on the board. And those are the questions you get when you're at the board. And, you know, so having some experience teaching, you kind of think about the questions that they would have asked, and I try and address those in my videos, the little questions. And I also really try and keep it at the, here's your necessary knowledge, okay, and that's what I put on video. And then in class, we're going to delve deeper into it, and we're going to apply, and we're going to do, you know, so the video is just a setup for what class is going to be all about to me. Again, it's a process that goes on and on. Like at the first year, I didn't put in the little call-outs and the arrows and all of that stuff. And now, actually, all of my videos for Algebra 2 and for AP Calculus all have embedded quizzes in them. And so when the kids watch them, the ones that I have live for the kids, they pause at some point and it asks them a question, and they have to answer that question to go on. And so, you know, all those things didn't happen my first year, but more and more happens as the years go on. That's the fun part of it.
Okay, now for those teachers who will watch this podcast and they hear stuff about flipping and they're apprehensive, particularly those who feel, okay, technology is moving way past them and they feel like they're going to be out of a job one day because this technology is getting Terminator and getting to the next level. What advice and tips do you have for them in terms of, okay, you're basically taking your curriculum and you're doing X, Y, and Z. What advice do you have for them?
First of all, I would say that there is no more important job than being a teacher. I really, I love being a teacher, and the video does not at all replace me in the least. It gets my direct instruction. It offloads it a bit so that I can really form those relationships. And as teachers, I think that is absolutely our most important job, to get to know the students, get to know their individual needs, and make them enjoy whatever subject we're teaching them. And to me, I can do that better by sitting with each kid, by going around to each kid, by seeing what they're working on their piece of paper, than I can when I'm standing at the board and maybe one person is yelling the answer out to me, Um, and, technology is moving fast, and I would say pick something that you are passionate about and work on that. So my first year doing the flipped classroom, I spent a lot of time making the videos, and I didn't have as much time to spend doing in-class activities, but that came the next year. So pick something that you really are passionate about and you really want to focus on, and work on that. And you don't have to do everything at once. My flipped classroom is not, it has evolved over the years, and so don't look at a video that I have now and say, oh gosh, I couldn't do a video that looks like that. This has been a process for me, and I've seen how my kids reacted, and I've adjusted to that. So, and take a poll also. It doesn't have to be a survey, but just take a sense of how your kids are doing with it and adjust to their needs, because that's where you build the trust, and that's such an important part. There's nothing more important than gaining the kids' trust, and if they aren't doing well with the way that you roll out the flipped classroom at the beginning, you really need to adjust it so that they're happy, because, yeah, nothing more important than them feeling like the classroom is about them.
Wow, that was deep. That was deep. Um, that felt like we should end it right there. However, as you were talking, I was reminded about a video I watched and how some of your students have begun uh, flipping videos themselves. Uh, and how did that process start? And is that a regular practice in your classroom?
So, as I was making the videos, I was like, gosh, you have to explain it so well to put something on video. And as teachers, we know that there's no better way to learn the material than through teaching it. By teaching it the first year, you're like, gosh, I'm really understanding this stuff. And the second year you're teaching it, you just understand it better and better and better. And so, I just wanted my kids to have the opportunity to make some of the videos. And so I've used it differently in different years. But one of the ways I really use it in AP is the students make solutions to the AP free response questions, because there are so many years of AP free response questions out there. And then I have them create the answers. They check it with the scoring guidelines that are there, and then they post them. And then now, like, when I begin introducing the free response questions, I don't need to go through that all, because I have videos for it, and so the kids go through it. I have them comment on what made sense, comment on what didn't make sense, and that's how I know what to work on in class with them. And so in different years I use it differently, and I'm still experimenting with it, and it's an awesome way for the kids to learn the material better, because they have to verbalize what they're doing, and it is a great indicator to them, hey, I didn't understand this so well, I can't explain it, It also helps me catch misunderstandings before they get to a test or a quiz, which is what we want to do. I think it could serve as an amazing alternative assessment, to a traditional test or quiz. So there's just so many applications to it. If you can, get in your classroom, if you can get some iPads, or if you can get some tablets, or even they can just use their phones and kind of make a little video of it. So it doesn't have to be fancy, and I've used all different ways in different years depending on what tools we had in the classroom.
All right, excellent, excellent. All right, so we're gonna get out of here on this question. So, what are your final tips or parting shots for the teachers out there who are thinking about flipping their classroom?
Geez. Let's see. If I can keep it simple, it would just be, you know, to really think about what you wish you had more time for in your classroom, or what you wish you could have in your classroom. For me, it was I wanted my kids to have, a less stressful environment in the classroom. I wanted class to be a little bit more relaxed. And so by offloading that beginning lecture that I had to do on the board, I would free up all this time. And so that drove me to make the types of videos that I make. And then really continually see how the kids are responding to it and what they need. So continually check in with the students, because that's the way, for me, that I really build their trust. And I found that to probably be the number one thing, is letting them know that I care, that they're happy and understood and listened to.
Excellent, excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you, Stacy, for
See?
being on the show. This will be going up on my blog in about 30 minutes or even less. So you're going to see all the links to her blog and YouTube channel and get all the good stuff. So again, thank you people for watching, and thank you, Stacy, for being a guest.
Thank you. Bye.